as the war in Ukraine stretches into its third month now. The EU has announced a partial ban on Russian oil imports, as Russian troops are gaining ground during fierce fighting in the eastern Donbass region. Foreign correspondent Tom Soufi Burridge joining me now live from Ukraine with more. So, Tom, how are these new sanctions expected to impact Russia's economy and its ability to continue to wage war here?
Kira, this is a big step forward by the European Union. Remember, it's a club of 27 nations. To get consensus on this is not easy. But overnight, the European Union has agreed to cut its imports of Russian oil now by up to 90% by the end of this year. Now, that will cut billions of dollars of revenue from the Russians, because before the war, the EU was importing around a quarter of its oil from Russia. But, and it's a big but, gas is much more significant going into EU countries from Russia. It makes up about 40% of EU gas, Russian gas does. So therefore, that's the bigger challenge further down the road. Can EU nations, namely Russia, find alternatives and wean themselves off Russian gas too?
And also, the White House is now saying it's preparing to dispatch these long-range rocket systems to Ukraine as part of the new package of military and other aid. What do we know about that, Tom?
Yeah, Kira, people who watch this closely might have seen President Biden yesterday saying that the US is not going to provide really long-range rocket systems which Ukraine could use to hit targets inside Russia. That said, US officials still telling ABC News that an announcement might come this week to provide sophisticated rocket systems, shorter range, still to hit targets behind the Russian lines, things like command centres, ammunition depots. That could be a game changer. The Ukrainians have been asking for this type of weaponry for at least days, if not weeks.
We're also, Tom, learning about this French journalist who was killed when the humanitarian convoy he was traveling in was hit by shrapnel from the Russians in the eastern part of Ukraine. What do we know about this investigation, as well as possible criminal charges now?
Yeah, a really powerful story here, Kira. So we got news of this death yesterday. Frederick Leclerc-Imhoff, he's 32, the journalist. He was killed by shelling, Russian shelling, according to the French government, when he and his team were filming a humanitarian operation, the evacuation of civilians from the Donbass around Severodonetsk, where we're seeing the most intense fighting between the Russians and the Ukrainians right now. What we've seen today is a Russian news agency called TASS basically accusing Mr. Imhoff, after his death, of being a mercenary, falsely accusing him, of course. And then we've seen a really powerful statement from the journalist's mother, basically saying that that's a complete lie, saying that the statement from this Russian news agency makes her sick, and saying they will not tarnish the memory of her son, who was committed to democracy and telling the truth. And I think it's a really eye-opening moment about Russian propaganda and how low they can stoop on an issue like this.
And clearly we lift up what he did there, trying to bring about the truth, of course. And then there's this shocking drone video that we've now seen. It was released. It shows those mass graves in Mariupol. What can you tell us about this? And were these all civilians, Tom?
Hard question to answer, but the local authorities that used to control Mariupol before the Russians took it have got hold of this video and released it. I mean, I think it's just shocking when you look down. It's the drone footage basically showing row upon row of graves, apparently showing the cemetery in Mariupol expanding exponentially. We've seen what Russian soldiers did in towns and cities around Kyiv earlier in this war, the atrocities they committed against civilians. This is yet more evidence of the civilian death toll inside Mariupol, a city which, quite frankly, was flattened by the Russians before they took it.
Our Tom Soufi Burridge. Tom, thanks for the latest.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.